Oh, come on. Mm. It's fresh too.
Hmm. I think I live in a state of a bit of delulu, right? I do my best to be as grounded as possible, but there is a part of me that will forever live in La La Land. And in La La Land, for some reason, I believe that everybody is smart enough to realize when they are being duped, hoodwinked, bamboozled, gotten. If you, in the year of our Lord 2025, are still questioning whether or not Tucker, Taliban, Carlson is real, authentic, trustworthy, I don't know what to do for you at this point. I really don't. In this land of Delulu, all of the people who show up anytime I post about this man, especially on X, do not exist. But in reality land, there are literally millions of people who are still falling for this. And so today I decided to take a little bit of a different angle when it comes to our dear friend, Taliban Carlson. Today I want to take a deep dive into a oftentimes forgotten, but definitely not less impactful sponsor, allegedly. Employer, likely. That being Russia. We know what Qatar has been doing for the last 15 years, especially in higher ed or in our indoctrination camps. We know what Qatar has been doing in our media, etc. But for some reason, it just seems to slip the consciousness, when all eyes are on the Jews. It's almost impossible to see things from a perspective of, maybe a nation who has been hell-bent on destroying us for decades. This is why it matters for us to read. Remember the old Cold War? Y'all remember that? Now, y'all may be wondering, why is it that I'm going on about Russia? Well, turns out that Sir Carlson has been on a full sweep propaganda campaign simping for the Kremlin. As a matter of fact, that video y'all saw in the beginning, and we are going to get deeper into that. Lord knows we're going to revisit that clip there. That's a video of Sir Carlson in Russia, Moscow to be specific, demonstrating to us how, we have fallen for the old propaganda that this nation is anything but a fresh bread having, I guess, they got grocery stores. So that must mean something, right? I feel like this is a clip right out of the movie, The Interview, with James Franco and what's the guy's name? He actually has kind of a little Carlson laugh. What's his name? Seth Rogen? Is that him? Yeah. Little bit of propaganda. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into.
Biden was a better leader or a better man than Vladimir Putin. I don't even know what to say to you. That's insane. There's by no measure, did Joe Biden's country, the people he solemnly swore to help and defend, did they thrive? No, they withered. Putin, who's been there for 25 years, his country's improved. The people are happier. They like him.
I'm going to let him finish, but I just have to say this. In defense of a man who I would not vote for at gunpoint, Joe Carcass Biden, in his defense, you can't compare a literal corpse to a living man. The living man just has to breathe and he's already going to be a better president or dictator or whatever title you want to put on it. So I don't know why we're comparing rotten apples or compost to apples. Let's go ahead and continue. I'm sure we'll have more here.
actually.
The war's been a little tough on Putin.
The wars, of course, it's been tough. Of course, it's been tough.
I'd be curious about public opinion today, this far into the war.
Well, actually, it's measured a lot.
Come on.
I mean, yeah, the old war, millions of people are being massacred as if they were nothing, just child's play, executed in hordes for the sake of Vladimir Putin's ego. Yeah, that old little war, what's that compared to fresh bread? I mean, fresh bread? See, I don't know if you've ever heard of fresh bread, but it's actually bread that's pretty fresh. No, she's like, I mean, America has bread, but is it fresh bread? I mean, okay, we have fresh bread, but is it Russian fresh bread? I mean, it's not, this has nothing to do with Putin. I don't support Putin, but he's a fantastic leader, is he not? Let us continue.
Come on.
Moscow, I'm not moving to Moscow. I'm an American. I'm never leaving. But Moscow is not so different from the cities of the United States in my youth. We had a free society, much freer than we have today. We had much more capitalism, free markets, fewer monopolies.
But you're not saying Moscow was a free society.
I'm saying the United States was a free society.
Okay.
The country that I grew up in had a semi-functioning capitalist system with competition. It wasn't all like 4 companies dominating everything, which is what we have now. That's not capitalism.
That is a literal lie. And I am a free market capitalist to my core. Unapologetically, I am a capitalist. Okay. Now, when Hershey's became a thing, there was just Hershey's. Now, sure, there were a few competitors who then just became partners and they became the monopolies in these industries. But there was Hershey's, and then there was actually a former employee of Hershey's. I believe he got fired or something happened, and he started Reese's, right? So that then became, I guess, a subsidiary at a certain point. But yeah, turns out that monopolies are actually not something that started existing in the 1980s, 90s, and 2000s. Now, let's get to the point at hand here. So, according to old man Carlson, who must have been so old that he lived in a time when monopolies did not exist, in the early, not first century, we're talking about, in the beginning, God created. He must have been there in order for there to have been no monopoly. And even then, God has a monopoly on life because he created it. It belongs to him. Anyway, Sir Carlson claims that the old America is like new Russia. Folks, we're just here asking questions. We're just here asking questions, right? Can we do that? Can we just ask questions? Is it illegal to just ask questions? I mean, we're just asking questions. So, is it not interesting to y'all how this man is trying to make a comparison to quote unquote America's golden age with a totalitarian dictatorship that has been ruled by one man for the last 17 centuries, since the Ming Dynasty? I mean, they love him. You know who else is loved? Joseph Stalin, Xi Jinping, Mao Zedong, Pol Pot. Beloved leaders, according to who? They're propaganda machines. Beloved leaders according to themselves. But of course, there's more.
Okay, that's a monopoly economy, which is bad.
Yeah.
And you had freedom of speech. I guess there are probably some limits, but I wasn't aware of what they were because they were so broad. And you had
freedom of speech, but definitely not a freedom of laughs.
had safe, for the most part, clean cities. And that's exactly what Moscow is. So
exactly what it is. Yeah.
As I've said, and I really mean it.
Look at Cuomo's, look at this, guys. I'm sorry. Hold up. Look at Cuomo. Cuomo's face is all of us right now with a little bit of sense. Just a little. You don't have to have much of it right now. We are all Cuomo in this very second. You have got to be kidding me. All Moscow is just it's clean streets. I mean, freedom of speech. Yeah, I mean, sure, if you spoke against the Kremlin, I mean, you'd be beheaded. But I mean, besides that, it's phenomenal. I mean, the best of America. What does America have to offer? I mean, I support Mamdani, but there's more. Oh, and just in case y'all are wondering, I indeed have got time today. So let's continue.
And I said it to our producers who we were traveling with at the time. This does not make me love Putin. It makes me despise our leaders.
Wow.
And so I say this from Moscow, and Jon Stewart, who is just such a tool of power. It's crazy. He's like, well, fentanyl ODs are the price of freedom. Really? You're going to try and convince me of that? It's like telling women working at Citibank is liberation. No, it's slavery, actually. That's not liberation. Getting to raise your own children.
I'm sorry. Hold up. Okay. No, we got to discuss this. So, straw man here. Okay. Drawing this parallel between leftism, feminism, to be more specific, right? Working at Citibank for a woman, is a lot of things. But one thing it is not. Unless you're not getting paid and you're being forced into work, it is not slavery. I really hope to get this one across to y'all. It's clear as possible. Dear anybody, slavery is slavery. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Dear anybody, dear everybody, working at Citibank as a woman while getting paid, you choosing to do so is not slavery. Slavery is when you are forced into labor without pay. I wish I had a diagram chart situation, or what chart would I need right now? All my statistic folks, what kind of chart would I need right now to draw this out for y'all visually? Here's slavery, and then here's not slavery. Actually, it's the opposite of a diagram because technically they don't ever intersect. Slavery, employment. Now, what he's trying to get across is this, or at least the propaganda he's trying to sell, is that because Western society has fallen into a place where motherhood, or just being a woman, has essentially been put to the wayside, let alone motherhood, which I believe is a foundational part of this whole humaning thing, right? There's a reason why God made it so that a woman reproduces and has all the faculties necessary to care for child. Glad we agree on that one. I'm trying to look for, what is it, mini creme? Can we call him the creme de la creme, mini Kremlin or something like that? We'll find a name for him soon, for his other overlord, who I'm pretty sure he actually has more affinity for than even the Qataris and the Saudis at this point. The bread. So, yes, feminism's effects have been detrimental as far as child rearing, child raising, even just babies being allowed to live, right? That we can definitely agree on. However, we can't draw this false parallel because here we have a dictatorship. Which soon enough, y'all will find out that he's actually not the biggest opposition towards having a dictatorship. As a matter of fact, turns out that Buddy is, he's pretty much into a feudalist system himself, right? He favors going back to a monarchy because, the bread, breads in monarchy. The surplus of fresh bread in monarchies is unparalleled. Just imagine being in the Colosseum and you've got fresh bread. What could be better than that? Yeah, how about waiting in the bread line for the fresh bread until it's no longer fresh and no longer existent? I think that's something we can consider. But anyway, yeah. Glad we got that across. Not slavery, 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 not slavery. Let us continue.
Is liberation. Getting to do what you want to satisfy the deepest desires of your heart. That's liberation.
Oh, yeah.
They've redefined liberation. Liberation is living in some shithole.
Look at Cuomo's face. Look at... Cuomo.
No, that's slavery. And so I try to make this point. I don't think it's super subtle or esoteric or complex. But they're like, oh, Tulip Putin. No. You are flacking for the indefensible. I mean, I do really prefer the feudal model, which is the ancient, it's the model of...
Y'all thought I just said that to say it, didn't you? That he loves feudalism. If you don't know what feudalism is, please go ahead and look it up real quick, right? A feudal, like feudal Japan, run by the feudal lords, where you have no control as a peasant. Okay. All right. Mr. 1980s free market. Okay.
All time where, you know, when the Normans invaded England in 1066, and we know this from the Bayeux Tapestry, who got killed in the Battle of Hastings? King Harold. The king. The English king was killed in the first battle. Why? Because he was leading his troops. He gets shot in the eye with an arrow. So if you have that, you know, in a structure like that, a society like that.
Can I be honest with y'all about something? I know I'm stopping starting a whole lot like back in the day, but this is what we're doing today. We got time for stop start. Do we have time for stop start? We have time for stop start. Yeah. Sir Tucker is what we call smart for the dumb. He is smart for the dumb. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. No, we got more. Yeah, he is what an individual would believe to be intelligence if you don't know very much. And this is, look, there's a difference between just utter stupidity, I guess you would say, and maybe just being dumb, at least in my perspective. Maybe I could find a better word to encapsulate this. Like there's one where the faculties of your brain cannot be reoriented so you can rationalize and think properly. Like that's a different category. Then there's also, you just don't know very much because you haven't researched, haven't delved into things like, you know, the deepest research has maybe been TikToks and Instagram clips or whatever it may be, which is just like other likely, you know, dumb with dumb. And I've been dumb. I'm probably dumb in a lot of places in my life about a lot of things, but in the things that I focus on, I do my best to go deep into those things, right? And the most important thing to go deep on, my sponsor for this video, is the Word of God. If you are somebody who does not want to be gotten, bamboozled, duped, make sure to consult the Word of God, the true living God, not the made up fairy tale ones that they got out there for y'all. Yahweh, the God of, I know the Groypers won't say it, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which is who? Say it. Israel? Yisrael? I done triggered 15 Groypers in the comment section right now. And I count that as great joy. Back to the point at hand. So this man is pulling different aspects of things that happened historically in order to sell us the point, or in order to sell us the idea that a feudal system, a totalitarian military style government, the thing that we have been crying out for age, I mean, before my time, of course, but when I run into old folks at the coffee shops and things of that nature, and they tell me about the good old days, what they oftentimes tell me is that this place has turned into more control. Patriot Act, that's control, okay? That's feudal. That's feudal. This is the same man who in another clip was telling us that we have lost our rights and the Kremlin has figured out how to live in a free society, Moscow specifically. And then in the next breath, and this is 2025, mind y'all, this is post-demon attack, so it makes a lot of sense. And for those of y'all who don't know about the demon attack, make sure to go watch that video that I put out a while back. Tucker had a visitation in the nighttime, and let's just say he has not been the same since. Now, he had that laugh before, I'm going to be honest, but it's ratcheted up a few degrees. You have to admit that.
you know.
So have sleazy gay people in Congress.
Well, exactly. I mean, I don't think that, and I don't know if you're.
I don't know if y'all like love to just watch body language. There's an unease and discomfort. I can't get past it. That's why I'm like, how does everybody not see this? You could just watch it without listening, and you know there's something off about Buddy.
I don't think that, and I don't know if you're who you're talking about, but I don't think Lindsey Graham is like going to lead troops in battle. I just don't.
I mean, feudalism is so much better than what we have now because at least in feudalism, the leader is vested in the prosperity of the people he rules.
Right.
At some point, when the regime decides, actually, we're against crime and we do have to have real borders and like, I don't know, we care about drugs and we don't want the society to like collapse completely. That's when you'll know they have complete totalitarian control.
Is that Trump swag he's got on? I know y'all see that maroon under the black. That looks awfully familiar. Okay. Dear anybody, so the whole America idea, right? Let's go ahead and unpack the whole. So America was built upon, I'm talking about pre-1776, the entire idea behind America or these United States was to step away from monarchy. We were sick and tired of being ruled by monarchs, and instead we wanted freedoms. So imagine a man in the year of our Lord 2025 who professes to be America first, America only. Gotta get that. Imagine that guy coming out in support of a feudalist system. That guy calling for the rule of a king. America first and America only, which is a contradiction, by the way. Not an original thought. Saw that on X, and it was brilliant. It can't be America first when it's America only. It can only be one of the two. If it's America only, then you wouldn't need a first because it's only. It's like God only, Jesus only, right? Only one God, right? There is no God first technically. Even though I say that sometimes on X, I'm just really saying it to insinuate to say, okay, there is really, America is not first, actually. No country is first. Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, the one name that has been given unto heaven and earth, that's first. Glad we've got that one squared away. That one is only technically. So yeah, it's America first, which is fantastic. America first. American only, I mean, if you want to pretend to be that, go ahead. But America has not been only since its inception. We needed ambassadors such as Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin in France in order to fight for our vested interests there and vice versa. We were never America only. One of the main reasons why we won the Revolutionary War, I'm not saying the main, but one of the reasons is because we had support. We had allies. That's how life works. Show me a man who gave birth to himself and I'll show you a liar. Show me a man who delivered himself from the womb. There is no self-made nail nada. The only self-made is not made because he always has been the true and living God. Let us continue.
Or they recognize that the utility of destroying the country is coming to an end.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Because at that point, they'll feel like, okay, we own this completely, so why wreck it? It's our house now.
Yes. And this is how again, this is the classic principle of actually how you get a king, right? Because they're generationally invested in the well-being of the land they're ruling, the people they're ruling, and they have the power to control the outcomes there.
Are we stupid? Do these people think we are stupid? Like, okay, look. I know sometimes I look like I'm not listening, or I'm picking up everything. I'm watching from body language, oftentimes that first before anything else. And then I'm listening to what they're saying. I'm listening to context and a few different other pieces, right? And I know a lot of y'all folks are like me out there. A lot of y'all who've been, tuning in for a while. Appreciate y'all and I love y'all. You specifically on the left. Sorry to the person who was on the right, but the one on the left, if it's the kitty cat, yeah, kitty cat's gonna get my love. But I think they think we're stupid because this man is gonna sit here and try to, he's trying to whitewash, and I don't mean that in the woke sense. He is trying to desensitize, normalize the idea of nepotistic control, right? I don't know if nepotistic is a word, but nepotism. Control through nepotism. That's what royal families are. We have been trying to eradicate this sort of infrastructure within our own republic in the United States. And now we have Carlson sitting across from a man who is doubling down on the point that it is good for us to have kings and then their sons become kings just because they're their sons. That is actually insane. The only son is the son of man, the son of God, who I want being king over me. That's the only one. There's no other king I want over me. No, thank you. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Here's your taxes. Good riddance. I'm going to keep it pushing. So, yeah, this is why it is absolutely essential. I was going to say valuable. It's not valuable. It's essential. It is the most necessary thing for us to first and foremost come from a godly place. So we are rooted in God's discernment and God's wisdom. Because when you're in the standpoint or the perspective of God operating through you, the Holy Spirit operating through you, and you're able to see these things clearly, you're not going to get duped at the fundamental level, which is at the spiritual level. Because if you're out of whack on the spiritual side, then you can otherwise be a smart individual. You will get got. And I'm not promising that as a believer, you're not going to get got, right? As it states in scripture, the end of the age, the deception will get so good that even the elect may be deceived. So I'm not saying that there's a perfection in this and that I haven't been deceived myself or whatever it may be. But you can't, like, if you don't have that, forget about it. Forget about it. At some point, you're going to get got. That's what we're seeing with a lot of these folks who are not rooted in God, but instead there's something else there. Their eyes are fixed somewhere else. Maybe a little money, maybe a little this, maybe a little influence, a little power, a little this, a little that. And so there's enough of a window. God is second, or maybe God is first. He's not in a category of his own in their life. And so they allow just for a little creep. And all of a sudden, and then now you're on a podcast simping for monarchs. And then now we're going to have to sit here and defend these stances in the midst of leftists who are already having a no kings protest. Well, Tucker says, Tucker does not represent us. Well, but I mean, doesn't he? I mean, he doesn't. And so I get to a point where, and I guess I just got to make this, my politics comes after. My politics comes secondary to. Once God drew me to him and I accepted Yeshua, Jesus Christ, the Messiah, as my Savior, I said, I'm yours. And that surrender deepens in me. But that first proclamation, show me yourself, show me who you are actually in my life, God. Show me. And if you are real, I will follow you. My politics is secondary, even if that means I am a party of one. I saw a tweet yesterday or X post. Still feels weird saying X post. So many words. X post, tweet, X post. I saw a message on X. See? Dissonance. I saw an X post where somebody was stating how there are many Christians who are conservatives, but there are few conservatives who are actually Christian, except for Christians in name. And that's it. I'm butchering this thing. I'm making it longer than it needs to be. But basically, there are a lot of so-called conservatives who put on the veneer of Christianity. I know you know what I'm talking about. Christ is king. Is he your king? And which Christ? Is this an Aryan Christ that you made up in your head? Or Wakanda, ashwagandha? dreadlock having Jesus that you created in your own vain imaginings. Which are we talking about? The true Yeshua? Are we talking about Yeshua, the Jewish Messiah? Because if we're not talking about that Messiah, the one that is prophesied of, that is fulfilled in this scripture, then I don't know who you're talking about. I genuinely do not know who this Jesus is. Only Jesus I know is the one who died for my sins and was raised on the third day, raised back up to the right hand of the Father. That Jesus right there. That Jesus I know. That Christ I know. Because Christ is a title. Hope some of these people think that's a last name. Ask a Groiper. Who is Christ? Well, it's Jesus' last name. I don't know why that's a Groiper voice. It's probably more accurately, definitely a foreign voice at this point, right? If y'all have seen the whole bot expose going on online, or like, you know, how everybody is from everywhere besides the United States or from a Western nation. You know, Groiper's in Kazakhstan or whatever it is. Very nice. Anyway, yeah, my politics come secondary. I want y'all to know that when I get into political discourse, etc., and God is calling me to step back into these spaces where I am speaking on politics, he's calling for there to be those who are willing to speak to this generation exactly where they are. And a lot of them are hung up on the politics of things. And in order to draw them into the kingdom, to bring them back home, to draw them unto the Father, you meet them where they are. And you show them the truth from where they are. And that's what happened to me, truth be told. So, you know, there's power in it.
So if you actually care about that, if you're actually going to benefit, why not invest your control in actually producing a better population?
I completely agree. I mean, feudalism is so much better than what we have now, because at least in feudalism, the leader is vested in the prosperity of the people he rules.
Right.
You know, if all your serfs die, you starve.
Let me show y'all who this guy's talking about. Let me show y'all. Let me show y'all the people that are the vested interest that Circuit Carlson is referring to. Let's see. Can we bring this up for y'all? This is them. Look at this guy. Y'all see this guy? Look at this guy. I bet you the king is real concerned about lazy bones over here. I'm not going to call him lazy. He's probably worn out. He's been working day and night in order to make sure that the fat king grows even fatter. So look at this. Look at this. I'm sure the king cares much about these people. Look at this system. Unless God is at the top of this system, it does not work. Oh, yes, we have the nobles. That would have been Carlson, you would have been right here. That is Kremlin, or that's the Kremlin's, that's Putin's office right there. That's Carlson. That's Fuentes. That's Carlson right there. He's been eating good. And then this one right here that's Candy right there. That's Candy, fake priest. And then here we have the defense. So that's what? Military wing, totalitarian. So they basically keep these people safe. Are y'all seeing this? Okay. These people keep these people safe, right? So some of them can get here, but some of them, they can never get here or here. It's literally the opposite of a free market. It's the opposite of a representative republic like we have over here. It's the opposite of democracy. Peasants, right here. That's where Carlson wants us, where most of the people under the Kremlin are. And then you have his military, who he is basically using as pawns in his little game. And then you got his, his overfed buddies. And then you've got him. That's what this man is defending, just in case you're wondering. I've realized visuals are the most powerful representation. So I'll give y'all more of that.
Yeah, there's a true incentive to care for those people. Now, again, that also exists in a republic if properly managed. But as we've noted, we're well beyond the requirements that even our founders laid out for a functional Republican government.
It's a truly beautiful city. That city is way nicer outwardly than any city we have by a lot. No graffiti.
Oh, by the way,
No homo.
context, this is him simping over Russia once again. It's not even about Russia, because shout out to Russia. I got a lot of folks, who are Russian. I lived in a neighborhood back in California where there were quite a few Russians that were moving in. That was the last place I lived in when I was in Cali. So I love a lot of my Russian folks, but we're talking about Putin.
No people using drugs in the street. Totally tidy. No garbage on the ground. And no forest of steel and concrete soul-destroying buildings. None of the postmodern architecture that oppresses us without even our knowledge. None of that crap. It's a truly beautiful city. That's not an endorsement of Putin. And by the way, it didn't make me love Putin. It made me hate my own leaders.
I think it made him love Putin. Whatever pretend world that he was shown, I think it made him love Putin. I think so. Well, to be fair, I think what made him love Putin was the check. Allegedly.
Because I grew up in a country that had cities kind of like that, that were nice cities, that were safe. And we don't have that anymore. And how did that happen? Did Putin do that?
Tucker,
I don't think Putin did that, actually.
You do have that.
I think the people in charge of it, the mayors, the governors, the president, they did that. And they should be held accountable for it.
So I think cleanliness and architectural design is not the entirety of the metrics that matter when you measure a city.
They're the main metrics that matter.
Friedman, you were a freed man right there. You had freedom of thought. Thank God. I don't watch Friedman often. It's too, it's putting me to sleep. I'll be honest with y'all. I get it. A lot of people love him. And, I don't have much of an opinion besides, I like that moment right there. Okay, so that is an interesting point, Mr. Friedman. I'm glad you introduced that into the chat. So here's the thing. Dubai is hailed as one of these, ultra metropolises, the place to be, the place to go. All hail Dubai. Outside of Dubai, outside of the monarchs that live there and the billions of dollars that are pouring in and out of that specific area, and I can't even say all of Dubai, but right outside of that main hub is abject poverty and literal slavery. Remember the whole slavery conversation we had? There's actual slaves. The reason why is because under Sharia, why not? I mean, they're literally the biggest slavers in human history. The Arab slave trade. Imagine that. So yeah, I would not doubt, though I have not been to Russia, but yesterday I was on a call with a brother who did go to Russia, has been to Russia. And, he was a big Tucker fan back in the day. He's like older millennial, about 45 years old. So, he kind of grew up on Tucker. And what he told me was the video that got him is actually the first video I played right there, the grocery store visit. Because he said in the Russia that he went to, you have to search for that. And he said even for Tucker to be able to release something like this, it had to go through the higher ups. It likely had to go through the Kremlin office. Like, it's just what it is. If you're going to create any sort of content, like when you go to, CCP, the Communist Chinese Party or Chinese Communist Party, they are going to be the end all be all when it comes to anything coming out of China, right? Unless it is somebody who is a spy of sort or somebody who broke in, broke out, and you hear those crazy stories. But unless you are that, you are designated by the Chinese government. I don't care if you're a streamer, Hassan Piker. If you're a streamer, I Show Speed. You are now officially a propagandist for the CCP. This man is officially a propagandist for the Kremlin. Show me otherwise. Bring me some Russian folks who can tell me that it is just beautiful architecture, plenty of grocery stores filled to the brim with fresh bread. As if there is not abject poverty in the same way there is in the United States. And again, we need to prioritize taking care of our people. I have been highly critical since the beginning of me speaking on these things openly and publicly. What an absolute I've been cleaning up my language, and God's been working with me in that department. So we can always find better words. What an absolute toilet bowl our nation was for the last 4 years. Or I guess you would say from 2021 to around 2024. Absolutely. The Democratic Party has been actively sabotaging our nation. Some of the GOP has been involved. Most politicians are selfish. They care about themselves. They can prove me otherwise if they want to come onto the show and we can have a conversation. Otherwise, I suspect that most want power. Some will get power through the people, but most will get power through the people. If you catch what I'm throwing. It's like Trump, I believe the shift came when he was like, okay, you know, if we do the people's will, oh, they want to close border? Okay, close border. Okay. What do you guys want? Okay, we'll do that. Has it been perfect? Absolutely not. No man is, and I don't look for any man to be my Prince of Peace, Yeshua alone. But imagine having Russia and you're calling that the model for the United States. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know.
They're the main metrics that matter. The main metrics that matter are cleanliness, safety, and beauty, in my opinion.
I mean, well, yeah, safety, 100%. Cleanliness, advisable. Beauty, cool. That's a luxury. This shows that this is a young man who likely grew up in opulence. He grew up, you know, with at least more than a plastic spoon and fork, which is beautiful. I'm so happy for you. I bet the CIA was paying Papa oh so well for his great work there. And this is also a man who has been essentially in the limelight for 30 some odd years, has made millions, probably tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars while in media. So he lives in that upper echelon. He lives in the proverbial ivory tower. So I get where his prioritization may be, but he has a warped sense of the world. It's like if one of us, it's surprising, even where I am right now, if I had to travel to most countries in the world, I'm not going to be invited into the upper echelon, the upper crest. I'm not going to get to sit down with the prime minister of Qatar or the literal dictator of Russia. I'm not going to get that opportunity. I'm probably going to be smack dab somewhere where people are looking at me crazy and I'm looking back at them. They're like, you know, what is this? Where do you come from? And I'm like, I'm looking for the fresh bread. Like, there is no bread. What bread? You want bread? You make bread. I might find myself somewhere like that. Just to be honest. In the same way, in most places in the world, I would likely find myself in the midst of the everyday people going through everyday struggles. And that's where Tucker has existed for the last eon. He has existed there since the Ming Dynasty. This man has been in that upper echelon, upper crest of society. And so, of course, this is how he views the world. Also, he's likely getting paid a pretty penny, so that doesn't hurt.
Come on.
So the final clip we got here is a little bit of a deviation from Russia, but I think no, it's not, because technically Venezuela is one of these nations that is currently being propped up by Russia. Maduro is a Russian asset at the very least, and a Russian full-blown puppet at the most likely. Yeah. I mean, why else would we have Tucker trying to defend a communist dictator? Let's get into it.
So the question is why? Why are we doing this? Why are we so opposed to Nicolas Maduro? So if you ask someone on the street, random person, why are we against Nicolas Maduro? The answer you're going to get is, who's Nicolas Maduro? But if you find someone in South Florida, for example, who knows who Nicolas Maduro is, who can identify where Venezuela is on a map, that person will almost certainly say, well, because he's a communist or a socialist.
I would have asked him, what is the population of Venezuela? If you know, you know. If you got that, you got that.
He's exceedingly left-wing, and that is true. Nicolas Maduro and his government are very left-wing on economics. Not on social policy, by the way, which is kind of interesting. In Venezuela, gay marriage is banned, abortion is banned, sex changes for transgenderism are banned. It's one of the very few countries in the entire hemisphere with those policies. It is on social policy, not defending the regime, just saying, one of the most conservative countries in North or South or Central America. Only El Salvador really comes.
Did this teleprompter break down for a second there? Y'all saw I'm trying to catch on to, I'm sorry. Yeah. As I was saying, with my own opinions, sure, they're left wing, but I mean, they have fresh bread.
Close, which is much smaller, of course. And by the way, the U.S.-backed opposition leader who would take Maduro's place if he were taken out is, of course, pretty eager to get gay marriage in Venezuela. So to those of you who thought this whole project was globo homo, not crazy, actually.
Has Tucker ever said anything nice about America? We got a simping for Maduro from Mr. America First, America Only, before we got any sort of propping up of an American. Well, actually, we got technically, if you want to, consider likely citizenships. I mean, there was Mamdani, right? Mamdani. As I stated in the very beginning of this video, if for some reason you're still trying to put the pieces together, is this guy real? Is he really for us? Is he for America? Or maybe, just maybe, he is the very opposition of what you stand for. I have done a multitude of videos covering his simping for literal Qatar, covering for Iran, propping up Sharia law or desensitizing us to the idea of Sharia law, simping for the Taliban. We got simping for Taliban before we got, well done, President Trump. I had some of your bread. Your bread is fantastic. Before we got any of that, we got simping for the Taliban. And everybody thinking I'm just saying that to say it. There's a little clip of him going on and on about what a perfect rehab system, what a fantastic drug rehab system is set in place by the Taliban. I don't know what else to do with folks these days. I don't, besides just go ahead and let these folks' own words convict them. And I will show them. It's like with the Fuentes situation. I will show them. Well, that's not in context. And then, the little frog. Well, actually, it's in context, right? Well, I do love Hitler. I mean, Stalin. It's one of my favorite days. This is his birthday. So yeah, if by the end of this video, you're still in denial, I'll tell you this. Denial is a river in Egypt. And that's how far you are from common sense. Unless you live in Egypt, then that would be a terrible, terrible analogy. Then let's go on Mars. I know you're not on Mars. You can't be there. That's the distance right now between you and just rational, logical thinking. If you think that this man is an honest player who is in it for America, he didn't even bring us any of the fresh bread. Just hold on to that. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace. I've been up for hours, I've been up for days,
Staring at the ceiling, I've been counting strays. I've been in my feelings, I've been out of mind. I've been getting visions of the other kind. I've been up for weeks. I'm in the count of blessings over count of sheep. I can never be the type to limit when it comes to me. I used to be the pleaser for the